standard form, slope-intercept form, and we went from standard form. In some of the problems you did on the warm-ups, you had to go from standard form to slope-intercept form. So you know how to go from standard form to slope-intercept form. You know how to get slope-intercept form. Solve for y. Look at the number in front of x, that's your slope. Look at the number not with the x, that is your y-intercept. You know how to go from, guys, listen up. You know how to go from some form of an equation to slope-intercept form. You solve it for y. We know how to do that. We've done it a lot. Now we're going to talk about how do I go to other forms of equations. How do I start with this form and go to standard form? How do I start with slope-intercept form and get to point slope or whatever? So we're going to be working between these different types of equations. So we have our last equation that we are introducing. So we have standard form, we have slope-intercept form, and we have point-slope form. Now let's think about this. What two pieces of information will I need to write it in point-slope form? A point and a slope. It is literally in the name. So in order to write something in point-slope form, I need the point and I need the slope. So as I look at it, this is the equation. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay? This is a different equation. This is a different form of the equation. We've done standard form. We found x and y-intercept with standard form. We've done slope-intercept form. We found the slope and the y-intercept. This form is called the point-slope form, and is helpful when you're looking for the point and a slope. The slope and a point. So my m is my slope again. And my point is x sub 1, y sub 1. So we're still going to have x and y in my equation, but my x sub 1 and my y sub 1, so the x with the 1 underneath and the y with the 1 underneath, is going to come from my ordered pairs. Those are going to be actual numbers. So it's going to be y minus a number equals a number times x minus a number. And it may be plus a number depending on what your point is. But that's the form it's going to look. It's not y equals mx plus b. It's not ax plus by equals c. They're all linear equations. This is just a different way to write it. Okay? So we are going to work with point-slope form a little bit. So write and graph an equation in point-slope form. So write an equation in point-slope form for the line that passes through -2, 1 with a slope of -6. Look at the information they give you. As I look at example 1a, what two pieces of information do they give me?
Slope of 6.
They give me a slope is -6, and they also give me a what?
With one at the point.
A point. So, if I give you a slope and a point, could I write that in slope-intercept form? How would I write it in slope-intercept form if I give you a slope and a point? What do I have to do? We did this a couple weeks ago. If I give you a slope and a point, what would I have to do to write that in slope-intercept form? Okay, flip your notes to section... I know it's so annoying. I'm asking you to remember things. So flip your notes to section 4.2. 4.2, section 4.2. If I give you a slope and the point, how do you... That's the equation. That doesn't tell me how to do it. Look at section 4.2. If I give you a slope, if I give you the slope and a point, how do I write it in slope-intercept form?
Plug M and B in.
Nope.
There is no.
Look at 4.2. So turn your notes to 4.2. We did this last week.
M equals.
If I give you a point and the slope, what steps do I have to do to write it in slope-intercept form? No? I don't want any specific. Just tell me the steps. So look at your notes. Section 4.2, the very first thing we did in section slope. Okay. Example, or step 1. If I give you a point and a slope, plug x, y, and m in for slope-intercept form. Next thing I need to do what? Solve for b, and then I have to plug m and b in. That takes some work. You guys can do this. You did this on the homework. It's not terrible, but it does take some work. So slope-intercept form, if I give you a point and a slope, takes some work to write it in that form. However, the nice thing about point-slope form is you can go ahead and just write the equation without really having to do any work. All you do, here is point-slope form. If I give you a point and a slope, this is kind of an easier equation to write this in. So this is point-slope because I give you the point and I give you the slope, so you write it in point-slope form. Now, if I look at my ordered pair, this is y minus the y value in my ordered pair. What is the y value in my ordered pair? 1 equals my slope, which is what? X minus the x value in my ordered pair, which is what? So make sure you put x minus the negative 2. The nice thing about point-slope form, if I give you the point and a slope, is you can just plug stuff in. You don't have to plug in x, y, and m. You don't have to solve for b and then plug it in. Point-slope form, you literally can just plug in the point and you can just plug in the slope. So let's go ahead and simplify. Y minus 1 equals negative 6. And then x minus the negative 2 becomes what? X plus 2. And that's it. So the point-slope form is nice when you are given the point and the slope, because you can just plug it in. Slope-intercept form is nice when I give you what two things? Slope and the y-intercepts. Point-slope is nice when I give you the point and the slope. Now, did I write an equation in point-slope form? Is this equation in point-slope form?
No.
Is it in point-slope form? Yes. Is it in slope-intercept form? No, because it's not y by itself, but I want it in point-slope form. Now let's graph this. How do I graph this line if I give you the point of negative 2, 1 and a slope of negative 6?
Oh my gosh, you dropped it on.
How do I graph this line if I tell you it goes through the point negative 2, 1 and has a slope of negative 6? Do not overthink this. If I give you the point and a slope, how do I graph this line? What do I have to start with? The point. How do I graph the point negative 2, 1?
Go down 2 and up 1. Go over 2, down 1.
Left 2,
Up 1.
up 1. Because negative 2 is my x value, so I go left 2, up 1. And then how do I get my next point? Okay, how do I do it? Down 6, right 1. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right 1. Why do I know my line should be going downhill? My slope is negative. So, to graph it, you have a point, graph the point, graph the slope, down 6, right 1. There's your line. So, if I give you a point and a slope, you just plug it into the equation. Plug in the y value, y minus the y value in your ordered pair equals your slope times x minus the x value in your ordered pair. That's it.
Did you go down 6 and right 2?
Down 6, right 1. No, it looks like it, but I didn't. I went right 1. Okay, let's look at the next example. Write an equation in point-slope form. I don't want it in slope-intercept form, so it's not going to be solved for a while. I want it in point-slope form. Of the line that passes through negative 2, 0, with a slope of negative 3 halves. Then graph the equation. If I give you a point and a slope, point-slope form is nice because you just plug it in. So it's going to be y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. It's y minus, what is the y value in my ordered pair? 0. So y minus 0 equals your slope, which is what? Negative 3 halves. And then times x minus the x value in your ordered pair, which is what? Negative 2. So y minus 0 is what? Y equals negative 3/2, and then x minus the negative 2, x plus 2. Just turn it this way. What form is this in now? Kind of. What could I do to get it in y equals mx plus b? And how would I do that? Yeah, how would I, what's that called? How would I get rid of the parentheses? Distribute. So I could distribute and get it in y equals mx plus b form, but it doesn't ask for that, so you don't have to do that. So this is fine. Now let's graph this. What do I graph first? Edgar, are you getting this down?
Yeah.
Okay. Negative 2, 0. So left 2. And I don't go up or down any because it's 0. And then how do I get my next point?
Where did you get the negative 2 from?
The ordered pair. Negative 2, 0. Because you graph the ordered pair and then you graph the slope. So my ordered pair is negative 2, 0. And then I have a slope of negative 3/2. So how do I graph that? Or up 3, left 2, doesn't matter. My slope is negative, so my line should be going downhill. Okay. So not a ton of work necessarily, it's just kind of a different equation we're working with. Okay, standard form. What's standard form? We talked about in the warm-up. Standard form.
Is
Nope. We literally wrote it down in the warm-ups.
it ax plus by equals c?
Yep, ax plus by equals c. So basically, if I want to write something in standard form, what do I need to do? We've done this before in chapter 3. If I want to write something in standard form, what do I need to do?
Y and x on the same.
Get x and y on the same side equal to a number, equal to a constant. So you're going to have a number times x plus a number times y equal to a number. 2x plus 5y equals 7, or something like that. So this is standard form. Okay, we have 3 ways: slope-intercept, point-slope, standard form. 3 ways. So example 2, I want to write each equation in standard form. So these are in different forms, and I want to write them in standard form, which means I want to get x and y on the same side equal to a constant. As I look at example 2a, what form is example 2a in already? So as I look at example 2a, what form is this in? Point, slope, because you see y minus a number equals a number times x minus a number, even though it's x plus 5. So this is in point slope form. I want to get this in standard form. So as I look at this, we need to manipulate this equation to get x and y on the same side equal to a constant. It's in point slope. So what do I do first to this equation to start the process of getting x and y on the same side? Distribute what?
7x.
Okay. So if I distribute the 7, what will I get?
7x.
Plus 35. Okay? So first thing you need to do is you need to get rid of parentheses. There's no parentheses in standard form. So you need to get rid of the parentheses by distributing. You've done this before. Now you need to get x and y on one side equal to a constant. So do what first? Okay, I could add 1 first. So it's going to go under the 35. So I have y equals 7x plus 36. Well, what form did I get it in? Yeah, what's that form called? It's in slope-intercept form. I don't want it in slope-intercept form. I want it in standard form. What's my last step to get it in standard form?
Subtract 7x.
Subtract 7x. So I have y minus 7x equal to 36. Now, x doesn't have to be necessarily first as long as they're on the same side. So y minus 7x equals 36. We could also write it as negative 7x plus y equals 36. Either way would be fine. And that is in standard form. X and y are on the same side equal to a constant.
Okay, you couldn't write it 7x negative y?
No, because you have to keep the signs the same. So if you want to put the x first, you have to keep the negative with it, and you have to keep the positive with the y. Okay, any other questions? Okay, let's look at B. I have y equals 3/4 x minus 5, if you want to rewrite it like this. Y equals 3/4 x minus 5. What form is this in already? Which is called what form? This is in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. It's y equals a number times x plus another number. Guys, stop with the side conversations. Come on. So it's in slope-intercept form. I want it in standard form. So what do I need to do to get this in standard form?
Subtract 3/4 x.
Subtract 3/4 x. So I'd have y minus 3/4 x equals negative 5. Now standard form is a little tricky, and we did this in chapter 3. I don't want fractions in front of x or y. So what do I need to multiply everything by to get rid of the 3/4 as a fraction?
4.
4. So multiply everything by 4. I don't like having fractions in standard form, so we're going to multiply everything by 4. So 4y, what is a negative 3/4 times 4? Negative 3/4 times 4 over 1. Do not plug this in your calculator. Negative 3/4 times 4 over 1.
Negative 3.
No, yeah.
4's cancel, so negative 3. Or if you do negative 12 over 4, that reduces to negative 3. So 4y minus 3x equals negative 20, and that's in standard form. Or it could be negative 3x plus 4y equals negative 20. So we're going from slope-intercept or point-slope to standard form. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, so look at example 3. Now I want to write an equation, each equation in what form? And what does slope-intercept form look like? Okay, this is what we did on the warm-ups, except it's a little different. It's the same idea. I give it to you in a different form, and I want it in slope-intercept form. Now, as I look at example 3a, what form is example 3a in? Point-slope form. Y minus a number equals slope times x minus a number. This is in point-slope form. I want to get it in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. What's the first thing I need to do? Distribute. There is no parentheses in slope-intercept form. So I need to get rid of that. So if I distribute the negative 3, what would that look like?
Negative 3x plus
Negative 3 times negative 4 is plus 12. So negative 3x plus 12. Is this in slope-intercept form yet? No, y is not by itself. What do I do to get y by itself? Subtract 6. Minus 6, y equals negative 3x plus 6. Is this in slope-intercept form?
Yeah.
Yes, it looks like y equals a number times x plus another number. This is like we did on the warm-up, except we have parentheses. And then my last example, example B. Okay, it's in point-slope form. Y minus a number equals a number times x minus a number. It's in point-slope form. I want it in slope-intercept form. First thing I would do is what? Distribute. If I distribute 4/3, what is 4/3 times x minus 3? 4/3 x. And then what is 4/3 times negative 3 over 1? Write it out if it confuses you. 4 over 3 times negative 3 over 1. 3's cancel, but I still have the negative, so negative 4. Y is not by itself, so we're going to add 5 to both sides. So y equals 4/3 x plus 1. Is this in slope-intercept form?
Yes.
Yes. I have a fraction. Am I allowed to have fractions in slope-intercept form? Yeah, rise over run. Standard form, no fractions. Slope-intercept form, that's fine. Okay, any questions?
No.
Can we do this?
Yes.
Yes, I think we can. There's not really a whole lot of new stuff we're introducing. Okay, homework's a worksheet.
Yeah, here.
Look at that.
Just like that, grandma.